Check 1, check 2.
This is Bill Cosby coming at you with music and fun. If you're not careful, you may learn something before it's done.
Okay, so from other controversial eras and topics, I think you might remember this one from the 80s.
Music and fun.
Music and fun. If not careful, you may learn something before it's done. Okay, so that popped into my mind. I'm not sure why, but I was thinking about this issue that Weaver had brought up. Yeah, he's a person.
Wartime machine contacting complete. Are layers established to support a private equity ownership model? I don't know, dude. I don't know. Are you guys buying this? I'm not buying this.
Okay, so I think that what makes sense is that they are trying to streamline. Now, by streamline, that means removing every non-essential part. You got to understand that corporate structures, maybe I can throw this picture up on the screen, that corporate structures actually have people that are already in place for stuff. So with them already having people that are in place for stuff, that they don't need to duplicate roles. So, and music has probably some type of corporate structure with subsidiaries. So they likely have people in charge of global sales already. So it makes no sense to duplicate that. Now, the idea of merging usually means that some people move into new positions and stuff, and they may remove some positions. In this case, I wouldn't really consider it a merger because it seems to be going very much in one direction of people on the high structure, and they're just cutting positions more or less. And I'm guessing those positions are being replaced with people that are already in music or other roles. I don't know who their go-tos. I would use the word punter, but it's probably not the right to call vice presidents or managers punters for a company. Can I get him on the screen? Yeah, this one. Yeah, there we go. Now his picture's on there. Okay. So I'm just doing this as a response because I heard it at this point, which is the 5-minute mark.
I'm really not buying this. If it were a few people where it's they're unnecessary positions, I could be yeah, okay, yeah, sure. But it sounds like they're cutting off some pretty serious things to Native Instruments' health. I mean, maybe we'll be wrong. Maybe they'll just put out as many products as they used to.
Okay, so now I don't know the corporate structure, but I would think that they have certain developers working on certain plugins. But they were already cross-collaborating on, I think it was NKS. So they did have crossover with in music for some stuff. Now, with AI, what I heard is that, people are finding a lot of spare time due to how fast AI is making the development process. Now, I'm not saying using AI to develop plugins or to fix issues is always going to be a gold standard. I do think that it will improve with time, but it may require less inputs. I'm clipping big time here. Let's see here. It sounds fine here, but I think it may not be fine. Now, let's see here. Is this a little better? Yeah, I think that's a little better. Red is dead. Okay. Maybe I can actually move back even further. I have this dual mic setup now. I'm testing out this ancient DigiDesign M-Box Mini that I got for $25 plus shipping. It actually doesn't sound that bad except for the occasional clicks and pops on probably bad caps that need to be replaced. Yeah, the point being that they likely do have some positions that they can cut, but if they're cutting whole divisions, it means potentially building leases. So just recalling from when Elon took over, that's Musk, took over Twitter or X, it's that there was a big real estate thing. So Twitter was large enough that it had all these leases on all these buildings all around the world, and you need to pay the lease for each place. I don't have a pop filter, sorry, on. So each of these needed to be paid for. So if you have an office location in the UK, and you have an office location in Germany, and you have office location in wherever the heck NI is, New Jersey or whatever, I don't know. If you have all these office locations, government does this too. You can consolidate a whole bunch of satellite operations into one bigger building. So say NI has this big building with a whole bunch of empty offices. They can relocate those operations to the one building, and maybe they own that building as opposed to all the leases. They can shut down all the lease operations and save like, $100,000 or whatever it happens to be on their lease spaces. And $100,000 doesn't sound like a lot in terms of like $300 million of money to write off, but it is something. So if you have salaries of all these senior positions, usually the senior positions like vice presidents or the like head of each department, they usually get the good salaries. So you're talking like, I don't know what they get, but I'm guessing those senior positions, senior developers, whatever, are going to be the ones with higher pay grades. So say you have 300 staff and you cut the people at the top 10% that you already have duplicate roles, and you want to change the corporate culture and where people are reporting from, remote work or relocations. Basically, what you do with that is you cut the people that are the most expensive. Maybe they're able to be transferred out. They may or may not have transferable skills, but you may bring them back for consulting or one-off contracts if you need to, but it's less than keeping them on salary potentially. Usually it isn't. You end up paying them more. But for that structure, 10 people, $1 million done. That's $1 million a year cut off with just 10 people. Say 100 people. The top earners, say they're getting 100,000 euros each. It's probably less, I don't know. But say the top 100 earners, that's 10 million in salary savings, benefits, whatever. So it can add up. I'm going to move on, but between the lease operations, say you set down satellites, and then Music may actually have UK operations already for one of their other things, or they may have a building there already, and they don't need the other buildings. So it can make sense to do that, or maybe, and I did own real estate, I don't know if they did, but real estate's a substantial sum in some times, especially with older companies. They may have prime real estate that a city has developed around, and then you can just sell off that $10 million property, and it's it's a sum of money that cuts into that $300 million expenditure. Because when you think about a corporate acquisition, if you're trying to balance the overall books, cutting out a lot, making all these sales early on, you're trying to write off that debt, because either you debt finance that debt, meaning Music burned out its own credit to buy it, or it took out loans. Usually corporate or rich people will finance stuff because they have access to the finance based upon their collateral, like a mortgage, only it's a mortgage on their business assets or otherwise. They have to pay back that money within a specific period of time. So the way to do that is you chop off all the extra parts that you don't need for your operations, and then you cut your expenses as much as possible and integrate that in. You gain the IP, like Project Paperclip. You just take all the IP, so you own that copyright to that software, and it's under EU or German copyright laws. So you can actually sort of copyright software in the EU or Germany. In the US, not quite the same way. So there's certain advantages in certain operating areas. I won't go into that, but the bottom line is that there are reasons why you would want to shut down offices, especially if you have duplication of buildings and leases, because it just makes no sense to have empty offices, right? When you can move everybody into the same building or operate out of the same area. Same with server space and CDN, like reallocating those contracts. You don't need 4 different service providers unless you need the contingencies. So it does sort of make sense. Back to Weaver though, because that's what I thought I would run from.
Maybe it'll be even better. I would expect the output of Native Instruments to turn down by 500%, as well as streamlining other areas of the business to create a faster, more efficient organization focused on innovation, customers, and long-term growth. So this is going to create a faster...
So to me, that does sound like they're trying to streamline. The less cogs in the wheel, the less cogs to break. But it sort of sounds like they might use AI.
more efficient organization, like not for the company, I don't think, maybe for end music, maybe it'll make it easier for end music because there's less people to deal with, but it's definitely not going to help with product output, and I don't see how it's going to focus on.
Well, the thing is, when you have a lot of people working on projects, you have a lot of hands that are being stuff passed through. So I don't necessarily think there'll be more products directly developed, but I think that they may be able to allocate certain resources into it. So I agree. It won't necessarily mean more products by getting rid of developers, but I'm not sure if developers were in there, were they? Maybe they're keeping the developers.
It's on innovation for native instruments. They're probably focused on innovation for Akai. That's what I'm thinking. Like, this is what I'm thinking. A lot of this native instrument stuff is just going to get ported over to Akai. I wonder how long they prepped that statement, dude. They're probably writing that for like fucking like a week. We recognize the impact these changes have on affected employees and are committed to supporting them throughout the transition. Native Instruments remains a strategically important part of end music, and our commitment to the brand is unchanged.
So I think they're legally obligated in many places, especially the EU. So I think they probably do have a like layoff or like they probably do have legal obligations for the transition period regardless, but I don't know what that means exactly. I don't know if that just means severance or they're gonna like be like, hey, you can still use our company resources, but we're not gonna pay you.
I really think they should just change the name of end music to just Akai. It seems like a strong pace with major new hardware and software.
That's definitely Weaver's idea. I think that they may integrate things like machine and otherwise into Akai, like certain IP. I don't know what it is specifically, but I think it was with NKS they were already working on integrating the two different product streams into a common usage. So I think that will happen, but it's just whether you like the name NI or Akai. Maybe Anakai, Akanin.
For initiatives already underway for 2027 and beyond. So that's definitely something there for me.
Acme?
Yeah.
Okay, so picking up from the merger
saying that
point,
he prefers to think of it as merging with them, because I think if they called it a merger to begin with, I don't think people would be, because then it makes more sense. You know, it makes more sense to like be cutting all of this stuff. But that's.
I think a merger probably isn't the way to describe it, because it is an acquisition. It really is an acquisition. I don't know who they're moving into the corporate structure at in music. If they do move people in, then I think it would be more fitting. But I think what the merger concept may be that there may be product mergers. Let's actually play this little clip here.
The fact that we are now acquiring, which I prefer to think of as merging with them, is the highlight of my career.
Wow, that's actually quite a bit for all the places that have been merged with over the years. That's actually saying a lot for NI. I guess there's been a lot of like growth over his career for that to be the highlight. Yeah, it's actually 300 million is quite a bit, but I'm not sure what the other acquisitions were. But I guess it can be thought of as a merger. Maybe that's a friendly way of looking at it. Maybe that looks like some resources will be reallocated with intent.
I have to tell you.
I do find it very interesting they're saying that he prefers to think of it as merging with them, because it makes like what they've been doing. Because then it makes sense if you're merging with a company or it's
Understanding of,
right, and then you do that, then it doesn't look right.
I want to start off just having an understanding of, in music and, and your passion about brands and the industry and technology. Tell me more about that.
Andy, how often do we talk?
All the time.
Yeah.
Literally.
And what do we talk about?
Product.
Yeah, all the time. I love product. I love this industry.
These guys give me the heebie-jeebies, dude. They make my skin crawl.
There's two loves in my life, my family.
They don't make my skin crawl. They look like they're thinking.
And this industry. And so, when I talk about a new product or plan for new products, I'm passionate about that. That's my fun. As you know.
No, it is. We've had many discussions over the years about new products, new brands that have come into our space, new technologies.
2 minutes so far, they've said absolutely nothing. Just that they love products and that they love brands and that they're excited for the future. I don't know what I was expecting with this video, but goddamn. Shit, my videos get to the point faster, I feel like.
It really gives us many ideas of where we go from a future perspective of the type of products we want to make. We're always looking at what the industry is doing, what artists are doing, and really, we live in a world of AI as well now.
Awesome. Her first
AI. And NI does have some AI stuff like Ozone and stuff, or they did, but I'm not sure if that was included with the transfer. with isotope. I almost couldn't think of it. That's scary.
First mention of AI.
I grew up on native instruments.
I had a migraine all today. I'm using this daylight lamp, the Sky daylight lamp. Got it for $15, but it's like $100 lamp. But I think I'm overdoing it a bit.
Products using Contact, one of the first sample engines that came into our space.
So anyways, we were thinking, let's get rid of them. Let's get rid of them. I was thinking, that's so dope. Why don't we do it ourselves?
They gave me serious angst over the years. As you know, you'd call me and say, oh, this is what Native's doing. We've got to get better. And they were a good competitor in the industry.
I was thinking, man, we got to get better. So anyways, we bought them and shut down one of their branches and let go a bunch of their employees. It's like our competition's done for. Huh?
We are now acquiring, which I prefer to think of as merging with them, is the highlight of my career.
I really don't understand why he's like saying he prefers to think of it as a merger, because in music, I believe, is much bigger than Native Instruments.
Well, you can merge with a smaller company. It just means you have common resources and assets. So if it's a similar company, then basically you're not really integrating new aspects into your company. You're trying to fit those things into your company so that's a common front. So it's not like this is just a subsidiary. We're not going to have it as a sub company. We're going to take all our stuff and we're going to put it with all our stuff and we're going to run it together. And that is sort of the difference between the acquisition of a subsidiary and actually integrating a company into yours, which is a merger. So I think I get what he's saying is that all this stuff is going to be like pieced out to the overall structure, maybe, is what the idea is. And it will integrate a lot more than what a sort of hands-off subsidiary, self-operating subsidiary would be.
It's very odd, especially because In Music is a parent company that owns a bunch of other brands.
One, they had to pay interest on debt.
Oh, and I think what's really relevant here is that he's talking specifically with Akai about this. So, and he was saying Akai was contacting him, and this is what we were dealing with. So, it does show some maybe back and forth from Akai's administration to In Music as a oversight. So you can have, if you have 100% ownership of a company, then you basically can operate it like your company. There may be some considerations, but there's a lot more capability to directly influence how that company operates if you own 100% of the company. So the fact he's talking with Akai about this is actually sort of leading to your indication that it may have direct implications on Akai itself if they got rid of all the management of In Music, or rather NI.
That doesn't create great product. That creates a payback for, a group of VC.
Okay, he is actually right about that. I'm not, hey man, if you're speaking the truth, I'm gonna
do this. So we're going to liberate them from that. There's no debt. There's only new investment. And when I hear what people want to do, we're going to support that. This is really Liberation Day for a lot of our engineers at NI.
See, I want to believe him, but dude, it seems a bit much,
criticism
right? It just
maybe
seems
we're
like
too
a bit
big.
much,
We have too many companies.
with actions.
Perhaps legitimate product would
You probably shouldn't say that. I'm surprised they didn't cut that out. Yeah.
have a new life, and they bring out new.
The thing is, I don't think there's really an antitrust risk because there are other big companies competing in the global marketplace for music, like Yamaha. And there's like Fender, maybe. There's probably a few. Yeah.
Products, things that may not have occurred without the acquisition. So really, I'm very proud of the family of companies we put together. And I think every one of those brands have benefited from us. They've grown in a direction that they maybe couldn't have grown without us. They've grown in a direction that's very independent for each brand. It's not like we homogenize those brands. They're unique. They stay unique. They get our support and they grow. Native Instruments won't be any different.
I just don't know how to feel about it. I don't know. It's hard to say. I haven't really been tracking how all these companies have been doing. Like, I mostly pay attention to software. I haven't really been tracking what's been going on with Moog, for instance, since then. I know they laid off some people. It wasn't this many.
Innovation has given you the 20 new products you've been talking about for the last 3 years in Akai. The 4 new products that are all set to come out under Moog.
This is what I mean about the huge disparity. Like, it seems like a lot of the focus is on Akai. We got the 6,000 products that have come out for Akai. And the 4 products have come out for Moog. I would be less skeptical about it if they weren't letting off so many people. What are your guys' thoughts on this, man?
Well, what I think here is that Akai may be selling more. It has MPC, or they're pretty big for their sales in the U.S. for specific, urban culture, rap, hip hop, whatever it happens to be. That's a big market in the U.S., much like country music is in the U.S. I'm sure Fender feels the same about probably their rock guitars or whatnot. Like they're serving specific markets in the U.S. For Moog, it's an enthusiast market for people who really like synths, but as a lot of digital technologies have come along, they probably have a niche place where they just can't sell as much because there aren't as many people buying synths, like analog synths or otherwise. That is like their niche. They probably have a bunch of products, but how many keyboards are people going to buy? And if you're probably a lot more direct competition on that, so they're likely catering to a very specific niche, and they have their product line that already exists, and people may still be going after those same types of products. But so I think that there probably is more sales and for MPC beatbox type stuff than there is for Moog keyboards. I could be wrong, but I just think that there's a lot more internal sales of software and otherwise on a workstation than on, say, a analog keyboard style keyboard. You could integrate that, but in my head at least, Moog is more of a classic instrument brand, whereas MPC is new technology that integrates software products that can be sold. So you have that market where you can sell the baseline system, the console, whatever, and then you can sell all the stuff that goes in it. So I see that sort of the same sort of model with NI, that they could sell the plugins or they could sell the hardware that uses the plugins. So how many products you can offer directly translate to how much pie there is. So what's the pie, what's the market share, and if you share pie between NI and Akai, then that's one common pie that you control now, and unless there's new competition, that's your pie. You can break it up how you want, you can offer what products you want, you can time the release of new products so that there's more inputs, because there's specific times people may buy things and how much money people have at specific times based upon the economy. So there's a lot more control when you have that pie, when you own the pie, and you can say what people can eat.
And I really am skeptical, but I listen to him, I'm like, okay, maybe, but I just don't know, dude. People stories like this, music production news. If you want to support.
Yeah, that's basically it. So I got to go chop this up like a piece of pie, and